there's a morning habit, one that's deceptively common, that within just 30 minutes of you waking up can coat your brain in a toxic fog. We're going to examine the precise biological mechanism behind this and exactly how to stop it. Now, I know that sounds extreme, a chemical bomb, but the science here is starkly clear. What many of us think of as a healthy start to the day, maybe a glass of orange juice or a bowl of oatmeal, can actually act as a chemical explosive, directly causing the brain fog and the fatigue that completely cripples your focus by midday. So let's dive right into the biological process. To really understand the damage being done, we first have to understand the unique, vulnerable state your body is in the very moment you awaken. The second you wake up, your body initiates something called the cortisol awakening response. Think of it as a massive but totally natural surge of hormones. Its specific job is to pull you from a state of sleep into a state of alertness. But here is the critical part. During this response, your entire system is in a state of incredibly high sensitivity. And it's into this highly receptive, highly sensitive environment that many people pour liquid sugar or simple carbohydrates. On an empty stomach, these substances aren't met with a measured, gentle response. The result is nothing short of a glucose shockwave. Your blood sugar doesn't just rise, it launches into the stratosphere. This immediate vertical spike triggers a full-blown panic response from your pancreas, which scrambles to release a massive wave of insulin to try and manage the sudden, shocking overload. And the sequence that follows is as predictable as it is devastating. First, you get the huge glucose spike. That's followed by the massive insulin release. And then, just a few hours later, the inevitable result, a catastrophic energy crash that leaves you feeling depleted and probably looking for your next stimulant. Now, here is what's of critical neurological importance. We have to look at what this biological roller coaster does directly to your brain tissue. This process triggers what is known as acute neuroinflammation. You see, that extreme swing in blood glucose, it generates a cascade of inflammatory molecules, creating oxidative stress that directly targets your brain cells. So by noon, your brain isn't just tired, it is biochemically, physically inflamed. This inflammation actively strips your brain of its ability to perform its core functions. And the symptoms are likely very familiar: an inability to maintain any kind of focus, difficulty recalling simple information like names, that pervasive sense of brain fog, and a very noticeable reduction in the speed at which you can process thoughts. I want to be clear, these are not signs of fatigue. They are the clinical signs of an inflamed brain. Okay, so let's move on to the solution. To correct this, we can employ a powerful scientific concept that essentially creates a protective barrier for your brain. The paradigm shift we need is this: carbohydrates themselves are not the enemy. The real problem is consuming naked carbohydrates, especially on an empty stomach. In that state, they act like microscopic shards of glass, causing a damaging shockwave to your system. To achieve unwavering mental energy, you have to dress these carbohydrates. The way you do this is through a principle called food sequencing. It's the science of eating your food in a specific order. By consuming your fiber, fats, and protein before you have any sugars or simple carbohydrates, you create a form of biological armor. This armor literally coats the stomach and your intestines, drastically slowing down sugar absorption and flattening that dangerous glucose curve. So here is the actionable 3-step protocol that comes directly from this science. You can implement this tomorrow morning to begin armoring your brain. There are 3 heavily researched biohacks that work together: the salty hydration, the fiber armor, and the 10-minute muscle sync. Altogether, they are specifically designed to prevent that glucose fog. First, the salty hydration. Before you consume anything else, food, coffee, anything, drink a large glass of water with just a pinch of a high mineral salt, like Celtic or sea salt. This does 2 things. It rapidly rehydrates you at a cellular level, and it gives you trace minerals to help stabilize your adrenal glands. This simple process blunts the morning cortisol spike and calms down your already sensitive system. Second, the fiber armor. This is the practical application of food sequencing. It just means rearranging the order you eat the food on your plate. You're going to consume your sources of fiber, fat, and protein, things like eggs or avocado, first. Eat them before the toast or before the fruit. This physically coats your upper intestine in a biological mesh, which profoundly slows the release of glucose from any carbohydrates that you eat afterward. And the final step is the 10-minute muscle sync. Immediately after you finish your meal, engage in 10 minutes of light physical movement. A brisk walk, even just pacing around your house, is enough. This forces your large muscle tissues to open their glucose receptors and essentially absorb any excess sugar from your bloodstream for energy, preventing it from ever reaching and inflaming your brain. By implementing this 3-step protocol, you really can achieve stable, relentless energy. But preventing this daily damage is only part of the equation. We also have to consider the materials we use to build and maintain the brain itself. You see, the human brain is composed of nearly 60% fat. It is an organ that fundamentally requires premium, high-quality fats as its primary building material in order to function and maintain its health. But what if an ingredient, one marketed to you as heart-healthy, is in fact a hidden toxin in your pantry? An industrial seed oil that, when heated, causes massive cellular oxidation, a process that is quite literally rusting your brain cells from the inside out. That is the subject we will address next.